And hello everybody, welcome back to British Stand. Keir Starmer is absolutely bricking it from reform. Yes, the Prime Minister has launched a scathing attack to Nigel Farage and the Reform Party, basically dubbing them as dangerous and not the answer. This comes after, of course, Nigel Farage and the Reform Party have surged in the polls. Labour, of course, are trailing behind because they've done nothing for the working people. They've went against every manifesto pledge they said in the summer. We're going to be going through the video footage of Keir Starmer launching the attack. We're going to go through what Nigel Farage has said with regard to his reaction from this. But quite frankly, you can smell the fear, you can smell the panic of Keir Starmer and this Labour government. Guys, as always, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, get involved in the live chat. If you're watching this live and you're watching a replay, get involved in the comment section below. And here is Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, launching a scathing attack to Nigel Farage of the Reform Party at a Labour conference in Glasgow moments ago.
Because we all know what happens if we don't win this race. It's written into the fabric of every community in this nation. The skills jobs that disappear. The communities that lost their place in the world. Not just the security and dignity of their work. Not just their pride and purpose. Their identity. That's the price of inaction when the winds of change blow this hard. The price of losing the race for new industries. And look, this is political as well. If we don't show a path to the future, others will fill that void. In fact, they already are. A dangerous right-wing politics, even here in Scotland, that will say they are the ones who can tilt politics towards the interests of working people, even as their proposals do precisely the opposite. A politics which feeds off the failure of the free market, the failure of public services to reform, and above all, the failure to control borders properly. We have to be ready for this test conference, ready to point out that beneath their bluster, the alternative they offer is alien to working people. You want to know what Farage and Reform are doing on their rare visits to Parliament? They're voting against our Employment Rights Bill. They talk the language of workers' rights online and on the doorstep. But they voted against banning fire and rehire. They voted against scrapping exploitative zero-hour contracts. They voted against sick leave and maternity pay. And what about the NHS? They want to charge people to use our NHS. They claim to be the party of patriotism, but they're fawning over Putin. No, they are not the answer for working people in Britain. And they are not the answer for Scotland. And contrast that with what you've seen from Anas and Jackie this weekend. What you've seen from the difference we're making in Westminster. And it's day and night. Only Labour can make the difference for working people. Only Labour will put more money in your pocket. Only Labour will fix our broken economy. Only Labour will secure our border. Only Labour can save our NHS, put police back on your streets, give our children the opportunities they deserve. Only Labour can deliver change for Scotland.
What a load of nonsense from Keir Starmer. What a load of dribble. He is a man who is panicking. He is genuinely panicking at the at the results currently of Reform leading the polls at this moment in time. He is so scared. We are going backwards as a country, and he talks about it not being for the working people. Well, what the heck is Keir Starmer and this Labour government? And I was about to go live a little bit earlier on with regard to a video of the full police arriving at an old grandma's door for criticising the Labour WhatsApp scandal, where a Labour MP who has now been sacked essentially told one of his constituents to die, or hope she dies. So again, all of the countless stuff that this Labour Party have been up to, the stuff with Apple recently as well. Who the heck are they for? They're certainly not for the working people. Now, again, Nigel Farage has responded to this and has said, how dare Starmer talk to us about jobs? Scotland has lost more than 70,000 jobs linked to the North Sea as a result of government net zero policies over the past decade. The remaining 30,000 workers directly employed in the North Sea and 90,000 jobs supported by the spending of oil and gas or workers will be cost of this net zero push. Starmer's disastrous budget kicks in on April 1st and will cost even more jobs in Scotland because of his national insurance contribution rises imposed on businesses. His comments on the NHS are completely untrue. The Prime Minister must be getting desperate. Under Reform UK, the NHS will always be free in the point of use. So Nigel Farage has hit back with regard to this disastrous, panicking statement, speech, whatever you want to call it, from Keir Starmer. He is a scared man. I hate this crappy gaslighting of the British public. He's tried it time and time again. He's always trying to do it, gaslighting the British public into thinking that if you vote for a party that doesn't want illegal immigration, they are far right racists and all this sort of stuff. I'm sick of this agenda. I'm sick of hearing it in Germany as well. This is absolute BS from the woke left BS. It is woke bullcrap. It is so far from the truth. It's so far from the truth. Keir Starmer is doing more damage to working people. The Labour Party is doing more damage to working people since they came into power, and it hasn't even begun yet. They've only been 10% of the way through their thing so far, and they've got a long way to cause more and more damage, and damage is what we're going to see. They don't care about freedom of speech. They don't care about anything. They don't care about us. They don't care about the individuals. At least the Reform Party will put British people first and put their priorities first above everything else. He talks about his immigration policies. What the heck is his? His are open border policies. He hasn't done nothing, absolutely nothing. He to help out with illegal immigration and stopping the boats. His gimmick of stopping the gangs or smashing the gangs, whatever he said, has not worked. He's simply incapable of leading this country. And he talks about reform. He has the cheek. He has the absolute cheek to go on and talk about reform and launch an attack. And I hate this woke left propaganda bullcrap about talking about right-wing parties. Right-wing parties, by the looks of things, are the way forward. We're starting to see this, of course, in the United States. Now, far right is a term that's diluted its power. Far right once was something really, really freaking bad, but now it's just so diluted. It just means somebody that doesn't want illegal immigration in their country. It's somebody that doesn't want this woke agenda shoved down their throats. It's all crap, and the MSM do their part in trying to brainwash and psyop the British public, and now Keir Starmer's talking to the Scottish people like they're naive. I mean, there was people there at the Labour conference clapping. Who the heck is still backing Labour after this period in time of being in power? Who's looking at the results and what they're doing to this country and actually thinking that they're doing a good job? They're doing absolutely nothing. We're going even further backwards than we were under the Conservatives. Real change needs a real party, and reform are the only hope in this country at this moment in time. It's just a shame that 2029 is a little bit far away. However, hopefully we see a shift in Germany today, and a big shout out to Alice, and hopefully she can win that today for Germany. But my goodness me, absolute cheek of a man. I genuinely, I can't stand listening to him. I can't stand listening to his speeches. I can't stand talking about him. But he just always makes it about something. I always have to speak about him on British Land because he talks absolute nonsense constantly, and launching an attack on the Reform Party and Nigel Farage today in Glasgow. Guys, let's get your reaction from this speech down there in the comment section below. I hate this. I absolutely hate this. I just hate the way he speaks. I hate the way he speaks. I hate the way that he tries and speaks to the public as if he's some sort of saint, as if he's Gaia, as if he's God making all the decisions. The guy knows nothing. He's well out of his depth at this moment in time, and it's already time for a change. Let's have a little look at this stuff. He sounds like a Dalek. No wonder he likes Davos. I know, that voice coach that he got during COVID certainly didn't work. He's honestly an absolute irritation to listen to on a day-to-day basis. And I'm not speaking as I'm some sort of god, but he has to do sort of public living for a living, public speaking for a living. And he makes an absolute arse of himself every single time. In fact, he's always reading from a script. How do we already know what he was going to say today, like 24 hours before? Because the script was already wrote out from exactly what he was going to say, because he can't freestyle. He can't speak from the heart. He can't speak from his head. He can't give his own thoughts and opinions in a pressurized situation in front of people. He should be able to do that as a leader and as a prime minister. You look at Farage, I mean, he just looks at a camera and just, it's all in his head, free flow. It's from the heart. It's from his head. You know, it's from everything. It's not from a script that's been written out by the people in charge of Keir Starmer. Oh, I hate this. I hate this woke left BS constantly get shoved down your throat. What for the working people? What the heck's he doing for the working people? What's he doing for the working people? Nothing. I hope people see through this. And to be fair, I'm looking at a bit of X reaction already, and people are starting to see through his absolute BS already here online, and people are not having anything that he said. I mean, he can attack reform. If that's what he wants to do, he goes out and says all the time that the Conservatives are constantly attacking what their policies are. But he's obviously speaking about reform because he's so scared of them. He's scared of them now, talking about as if they come to Parliament when they want and do nothing. They do something. They actually ask you questions that you avoid every single time. Whenever we're in Prime Minister's questions, there's questions always being asked the Prime Minister. Reform actually asks the hard questions. They do the job of the opposition. They ask the questions that the people want to hear. He doesn't answer those questions because he thinks they are nonsense, which quite frankly they're not. It's what a lot of the British public actually want to hear, but he never answers them. So talking about their involvement in Parliament, I think Rupert Lowe individually is probably the best politician there is in the whole of the British government, the British Parliament. I think he's the best parliamentarian and asks the best questions on a week-to-week basis. Tries to get answers. To say they come to Parliament whenever they choose and don't do nothing is absolutely disgraceful comments, because they do more than anybody else in terms of actually putting questions towards them and actually trying to do something. Now, they're not perfect with reform. No one said that they're perfect, but they're still such a young party, and the momentum they've got in less than a year is undeniable. It's unprecedented. And by 2029, mate, you're going to be gone with your bags out the door, and we're never going to have to deal with your BS ever again. JD Vance cares about us. Starmer would rather be at Davos. Exactly. JD Vance has done more for the UK and Europe in the space of a week than any of the European leaders have done, and Keir Starmer have done. Keir Starmer is so focused on protecting Ukraine's borders and not protecting our own borders. He's so focused on going about trying to do things for Ukraine, go out to Ukraine, put troops on the ground there, protecting Ukraine's borders. And yeah, fair play. That's a commitment that you have to do. But what about us? What about our borders? Well, our borders it's an open country. You just walk in and walk out. And if you do come off a boat, you get housed in a nice hotel. So maybe think about patrolling our borders first before putting our troops out onto the front lines in Ukraine, or whatever he's trying to do for Ukraine at this moment in time. We've got a donation from Killer Craig's Man. We should ban legal backgrounds from being MPs. I think Lee Anderson came out with that this week. He said that that we should be banning people that were in as lawyers coming into politics, which quite frankly is something I'd probably get behind. Now, I don't want to alienate people's ambitions and coming from being a law background and maybe have a passion for politics and all of these kind of things. I know there's a lot of Tories that are currently filled with a lot of former solicitors and all of these kind of things, lawyers and stuff like that. But my goodness me, Keir Starmer is a lawyer. He ain't a prime minister. He ain't a leader. He's not a politician. He quite frankly comes out and says that all the time himself. He's a lawyer. That's what he is. He operates the country as if he's a lawyer. That's what he does. So I would be willing to maybe look at that, certainly. But yeah, what an arsehole. Absolute arsehole. Oh, sorry. We've got another donation here from Chipmunk of Vengeance. Keir Starmer seems to think that the only party who can represent the working class is Labour, which shows the shift and divide between the political and the social elite. Labour have got their name from history. Maybe in history, 100 years ago, Labour were for the people. Or maybe when my mum was a child, Labour for the people. My dad was a child, Labour were for the people. At a time, Labour were for the working class. Yes, but it doesn't mean that they stay with that for the rest of the time. It doesn't mean their principles always stand by that. They're not for the working people. They're not for anybody. They're for themselves. It looks like at this moment in time. They are full of scandal after scandal after scandal, and are making a mockery of this country. They aren't for the working people, because if they listen to the working people, then they won't want any of the policies that they've brought in through their manifesto pledges, all of these kind of things. In fact, some people probably would have liked their manifesto pledges, but they went against every single one. So the people that voted for Labour were completely let down anyway. I don't know in their right mind who actually did vote for Labour, to be perfectly honest with you, but I've never met an individual that has. But either way, if you were a Labour supporter, you would have been completely let down, because none of the manifesto pledges have actually come to fruition. They've turned against every single one. They're only for the trade unions, train drivers, of course. Train drivers, could you class them? Yeah, they're working people, I suppose. They're the only people that have really benefited from Labour coming into power. Who else has benefited? Foreign nations? More money going out to them? Who else has actually benefited? What working people have benefited? Business people as well. Some people, I'm not going to put the violin out for I'm a businessman myself, so probably falling into the bracket where I'm not going to be getting a lot of sympathy, of course, but starting businesses and that. But businesses run countries. Whilst technically we're not working people, we have very humble beginnings, and we start like that, and are working to try and make the country better by operating businesses and making businesses, employing people and giving people lots of work and contributing, of course, to the economy as well. But they constantly shaft business owners as well, and you're starting to see all of them go out now to Dubai or go out to other tax havens, because it's become unbearable for them to operate the business within the United Kingdom and actually employ working people, the working class people that are going to fill those jobs. It's making it impossible now for business owners to actually employ them. So what are they doing for the working people? They're not doing anything. Farming, all of this sort of stuff. We can go on for hours, we can go on for days talking about the failings of this Labour government and what Keir Starmer has and hasn't done since coming into power. But to attack another party that actually is going to make real change, or have the chance to at least make real change, is unclassy for him. And all it really shows to me right now, from Keir Starmer and Labour, is they are absolutely shitting it. They are absolutely shitting it. They are looking at them polls and going, well, we need to deter people. BBC, get onto it. We need to sign up the people. Oh, what's happening? Oh, Guardian, brainwash them. We need to stop people believing Nigel Farage. We need to stop believing his influence. He's got the most followers on TikTok. He's getting to our children. We need to really make a stand and put it out there and stop this right-wing party from taking over, because they're going to destroy everything. They're nothing for the working people. He's trying to psy-up. He's scared. He's so freaking scared. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. He stopped the winter fuel allowance for the elderly, a sum of £15 million, then sends 18 million abroad on the same day. Again, he's not for the working people. He's not for normal people. He ain't for normal people. Exactly, as you just said there, stripping 15 million quid in winter fuel allowance for pensioners, old people that have worked their whole life and now are entitled to sit back a little bit and enjoy the remainder of their life. And now they have to worry about if they can warm or heat their homes. And then, as you said there, sending £18 million abroad each day. But look at all of our other commitments, money that they're sending abroad. They're sending loads abroad. We just signed a deal with Ukraine on how much money we're going to be pledging to them. Or how much a country with the Chagos Islands, what we're going to pay, the taxpayers are going to pay. They're looking at more of the international affairs rather than the people at home, and that's why they're losing support. That's why they're losing support, and that's why people are looking to reform for an alternative. So if you don't like the fact that reform is surging in the polls, start doing something for the people that voted you there. There was only 9 million people, but start doing something for the people that actually voted for you to be there. Because you don't do it. You absolutely don't do it. Peter Lynch says, if reform is still the only choice when it comes to the election, then I'll vote for reform. But if you get even close to reform, then I'll jump ship. Okay, yeah, I mean, look, listen, at the end of the day, there's a lot of people here on this channel. I know there's Conservative supporters, there's, of course, Reform supporters, majority, I think, and there's a lot of UKIP supporters as well. But yeah, I mean, I think 2029 is still a long way to go, but realizing what's actually probably going to be the best answer for change and what probably aligns with your views. You're never ever going to get a party that aligns with every individual's views entirely. It's never worked like that. You know, you're always going to go, actually, I don't really like what they do. I don't really like what they do. I like that. I like that. I like that. You just got to try and find something that best matches you. And I think a lot of the viewers here on this channel, probably by 2029, there's a lot of time to go. Until then, a lot of things can happen, a lot of twists and turns can emerge. But by 2029, I do probably believe that Reform will be the best party to get behind in terms of for an actual chance of change. But again, there's still a lot of time to go until 2029 anyway. Oh yeah, no, we know that. He's a robot. He can't speak without reading the script. He's constantly reading from a script. The guy can't speak from the heart. He can't speak from his head. He's constantly reading from scripts on a day-to-day basis to try and get his message out there. It just makes me think that who's controlling him? Who's pulling the strings? Who's giving these messages across? Is it actually him? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but, you know, why is he constantly reading scripts? Why can't he read stuff himself? Yeah. Anyway, guys, we've got a lot coming for you today in terms of content. This one, of course, but we're going to, of course, be discussing the Thought Police coming to a grandma's house about comments she made on Facebook with regard to the Labour WhatsApp scandal. Yeah, it's true. You can't believe what you're living in under this Labour government. First, it was with the iPhones as well recently, and now a grandma harassed by 2 police detectives after her voicing concerns on Facebook with regard to the WhatsApp scandal, the WhatsApp group scandal. Yeah, you couldn't make it up. But guys, we'll be back a bit later for that one. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all later. Take care. Look after yourself.